like see me dance, no? Are you like see me dance, eh? Black man like dance. Give black man music and cook up on them, alright. Morning, every morning! Let's get ready to rumble! Some people want to say sleep good tonight. Last night, I mean. Good morning. How are you? How were you yesterday? How are you today? Have you seen any improvement in your quality of life? Have you seen any improvement in the quality of life in this country? How are you today? Were you able to make some money yesterday? Money makes the world go round. Were you able to achieve some of those set goals yesterday? I do hope you did. I also hope you had a restful night. I hope you are re-energized today. You are re-energized today. You are re-energized today. I hope you have determined in your mind, listen, this nonsense must stop. And today I going out in front of the coach at 9 o'clock. 8:30 I was told. I hope you have determined that you will go and support the struggle in front of the coach. 8:30 this morning, Georgia Magistrate Court. They're taking the mayor to court this morning, yeah, for inciting and exciting and stuff like that. I don't even remember all the acts. But in short, they're taking the Sharon they're taking Sharon and Mayor Ubraj to court today. And the charges stem from the actions on the side of the working poor on your Market Street, 2 days ago or 2 mornings ago, whichever one. God, I hope you are going to be out there to support them. My program finishes at 9 or thereafter, as you know, but I still believe I will make every effort to get down there, even if it is to bring some live of what is happening down there. I know it's a daunting task because the commute from Buxton to Georgetown usually at that hour of the morning is difficult. But I will make an effort. And I'm asking you all to make an effort to go down there and show your numbers. Let me tell you briefly my interpretations of what transpired from that fateful morning in front of New Market Street to yesterday to today. The PPP decided that they are unstoppable. They decided that a long time ago. The PPP decided that they could do whatever they like. And the coalition / PNC can't stop them. Black people especially can't stop them. Because they see the coalition or the PNC as mainly supported by black people, African Guyanese. Yes, there are those Indians who are members of the party, members of the coalition. And the PPP has disdain for them also. Oh, y'all want to support that black man party? We're going to give y'all the same treatment. So when the PPP is treating a section of the Guyanese society in a particular way, it sees it as a direct attack on the political party that they support. And why do they do that? Like I say, in Indian communities, it is known if you are supporting a political party that is not the PPP, they will torment the living hell out of you. And so they take that, that approach nationally. They will torment the living hell out of communities and sections of the society that are not seen as supportive of the PPP. And that is what is happening. And so it's a direct attack. When they attack the vendors on New Market Street to remove them, despite the pleas of the Lord Mayor, Hubert Narain, who has written to the authorities to say, I noticed this instruction. This instruction is against the Municipal Act because New Market Street is not designated a public road which falls under the auspices of the Ministry of Local Government or Public Infrastructure. The municipal government has responsibility for New Market Street. And so for you, central government, to dictate what happens there is contrary, it's a contravention of the Municipal Act. And so let us sit and talk about this thing and decide a way forward. But the wicked, stink, dirty, corrupt, criminal, apartheid government say, we ain't got no time to talk with you, Braj. You represent the coalition, we ain't got no time to talk with the coalition. And if you think I'm talking craziness, look at the attitude of the PPP since they got placed in office in 2020. They've refused every step of the way to engage a coalition on anything. They refused to talk with Aubrey Norton as leader of the opposition on the appointment of the Chancellor and Chief Justice. They refused to talk about the appointment of the commissions. They refused to talk in select committee about the amendment they were going to make to the Natural Resource Fund. They have refused every step of the way to engage the coalition representatives. And so when they refuse to talk to the mayor, it is just a continuity of that. We will not talk to you. You're a representative of the PNC or the coalition. You're representing them black people. Because remember, that's what they see the coalition and the PNC as. Representing black people, or a party of black people. And further, we don't have to talk to you, Raj. You don't have same standing with us. You are Hindu, Muslim run things now. Bigger the backings of all the Muslim organizations in this country. You're Hindu. We ain't got time with you. That's the attitude. And so when Ubraj talked about the discrimination and the racism that was evident for the world to see in the behavior of the PPP, they got offended. They got offended. But you're looking for the evidence of racism, let me point it out to you. New Market Street is predominantly populated by African Guyanese. Go around to East Street. You go around to East Street and see who predominantly populates East Street. But there was no effort to remove people from East Street. But the efforts were there to remove people from New Market Street. New Market Street is wider than East Street. New Market Street has a delineation for vending. There's a line behind which vendors are required to stay. Don't tell me that the remainder of New Market Street is too narrow for ambulance and other emergency vehicles to pass, because the remainder of New Market Street is as wide as any other street that the PPP ask people to use in this country. It is pure racism. It is pure racism. It is pure bullyism. It is an attack, a direct attack on the coalition and its supporters. And so the question is, who's going to stop them now? That's what they're asking themselves, you know. Who's going to stop us now? We started from the bottom, now we're here. Nobody to stop us. And so it is important. The response to the actions of the PPP in the last 3 days or so is extremely important if we're going to stop this runaway train. And so it is extremely important that people go out there and put their numbers on the streets in front of the magistrate's court. And I dare say, it should not end in front of the magistrate's court. They will call me an extremist. They do that. They will call me Mr. Protest. They do that. They will call me all kinds of things. But I stand for my truth. And I stand for my belief. And unlike you were saying, I won't be apologizing for anything that I see. And I made a point yesterday, you better not to apologize. Because what he said, what he questioned, were facts. They were there for everybody to see. What's the point of apologizing? You apologize, and now they're still locking your ass up and putting you before the court anyhow. Let us go and deal with it before the courts. Let the court determine if I really and truly should have been apologizing for anything. Can they see that say absence make the heart grow fond? It's because you didn't see me long. You understand what I'm saying? And so it's important that people turn up there today, and that is why I said to you, I will make every effort, despite the challenges I anticipate, to be in front of the courts today with you, Brad, and everybody else that is in front of the courts. Mind you, the area must have been barricaded by now. Right? I'm almost sure the area is heavily barricaded by now. But people must make their way to that vicinity in front of the court and close to the court and say to this PPP administration, we are not going to stand for this nonsense. It must stop, and it must stop now. And so I'm saying this. Don't let it stay in front of the court. Don't let it end in front of the court. People must march on Regent Street. People must march on Ivlery. People must march on the office of the president, in front of the office of the president. People must march on places where the representatives of this wicked and vindictive administration are present. The Private Sector Commission was quick to come out to condemn you, Rajnarain. We must now condemn the members of the Private Sector Commission because it is clear that they have chosen their side. They chose to stand on the side of an oppressive government, a racist government, an apartheid government, a vindictive government. And since you, as the Private Sector Commission, can be emboldened to stand on the side of wickedness, the citizens must be emboldened to challenge your wickedness. And so not only must we withhold our monies from Regent Street and the other streets that the oppressors, the enablers of the oppressors operate, but we must be in front of their business premises and protest them. Because these very members of the Private Sector Commission are standing with the government to oppress poor people are the very members, are the very business people that these very oppressed people turn up in front of daily to buy wholesale supplies to go back on Newmarket Street to ply their trade. And the oppressed must realize at some point in time that they cannot continue to allow the oppressors and the enablers of oppressors to mash their necks and then benefit from their sacrifice. No, it can't happen. It ought not to happen. I am saying again, the protest must be not only in front of the court, but on Regent Street, in front of Ivlery, in front of the office of the president, in front of Soku. The protest must spread like wildfire across the city. Because the city is ground zero. We're battling for the city. The PPP want control of the city. And for as long as we can't get control of the city, we are going to make it shitty. We are going to not work with the mayor. Because he represents two things that we detest. Hindus and the coalition. We ain't going to work with him. We ain't going to work with him because he's standing on the side of them black man. He calling it as he sees it. And so we must challenge the Private Sector Commission for their support of this wickedness. This is an opportune time. I said it weeks ago. This is an opportune time You hit them where it hurts most, in the pockets. Christmas could be any day of the year. The jollification could be any day of the year. The feasting could be any day of the year. But their merchandise can't be kept for any day of the year. Keep that in mind. Can't be kept for any day of the year. All the apples that they bring, they're perishables, you know. All the bell peppers and all the fancy fandangles that they bring, they're perishables, you know. Make them perish. Keep your money in your pocket and hamburg commerce on Regent Street by being present on Regent Street as a disruptive element. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. The friend of my enemy is my enemy. And we have identified the friends of our enemies. And we have to deal with them just like our enemies. It's as simple as that. That's my encouragement to you. I saw an early comment. I got two of them to deal with now. Kerry Perry said he has ordered all apartheid, discrimination, marginalization, or religious preferences. They want to clear the street from shantytown-like structures in the close proximity of the Georgia Hospital. You have heard it all. Do you have any evidence to say it is not so? Do you have any evidence to say it is not so? We've been presenting all the time evidence of an apartheid government. Apartheid in itself is discrimination. Discrimination in itself is oppression. Do you have any evidence to say it is not so? Let me come to religious preferences now. It has been identified from the inception of this wicked government in 2020 to now that a majority of contracts, big contracts that are being given out, are given to the majority Muslim Brotherhood in this country. Let me call it Muslim Brotherhood. A whole heap of Muslim contractors suddenly rise up, including Mohammed's enterprise. And they've been getting multi-billion-dollar contracts. The evidence is right there. You go and check. Why is the Public Procurement Commission not functional? Because it is a checkpoint. It is one of the places where fairness is expected to take place and people are awarded contracts according to set criteria. But no, the Ali-led administration doesn't see the necessity or the utility in establishing the Public Procurement Commission, because then they can't get to do it as they like. Contracts are not tendered for in this country in an open tender system, the big ones especially. People are called. They call it selective tendering. People are called and say, tender for this job. People are called and say, we got this job, do it. Who are the ones coming out on top by design? The majority Muslims. It's we time now. And so yes, there is religious preference. Yes, there is religious preference. I'm not going to name, what do you call it? Let me call it a forensic study of names. And he built a house to 85-year-old grandmother the other day. I challenge anybody to check our religious connections. I almost could put my head on a block. Not to say I don't study these things. I am willing to put my head on a block. Should I Hindu? Me willing for bet. There is religious preference. I said on my previous program, Guyanese must do this. Check all them communities and identify an 85-year-old or a pensionable granny that lives in conditions like the one that they just built a house and let them build a house for them. As people like to say, hell will freeze over before you see equality and fairness in that kind of mission according to the men on the mission. So Kerry Perry, don't tell me all that you've seen. Show me the evidence in the contrary. You show me the evidence in the contrary. Shanty tongue-like structures. You show me the shanty tongue-like structures that were packed on those trucks the other night or the morning to be carted away by the representatives of this apartheid and wicked government. Y'all tell me, I want y'all to show me the shanty tongue-like structure. It's caravans. They're metal frame structures. They're nicely painted. I remember seeing perhaps the one is, what we call it, rust red or something. Nicely painted. Show me the shanty tongue structures, Kerry Perry, on New Market Street. Show me that. Some of y'all just come and use y'all mouth like anus sometimes. Talk shit. There's justification for wanting order in any city. The well-being of people will trump any order you talk about in any city. And if you're talking about order in New Market Street, they've already established that there is order in New Market Street because there's a line behind which vending is allowed to take place. And so there's no real encumbrance that you people are trying to make it out to be. I saw another one early this morning, the one I was about to talk to. Right? Other governments will do what other governments have to do. Other governments will work with any government. It's called international relations. Do you think the attitude of this apartheid government to Guyanese will be the attitude to other governments? No! They paint a totally different photograph, a totally different picture to other governments. They go out and hug up and shake up and smile up and laugh up with African leaders. But they oppress African people in this country. So I don't necessarily understand your point. It's a blunt one. You people are making the argument. Central government wants to see order in the city. Central government wants to clean up the city so when tourists come, they don't see a shanty tongue. What gives rise to shanty tongues? Poverty gives rise to shanty tongues. And if central government have people living in poverty, if you're working for more than 10 years and you could only be earning $500 a month, and central government insists on keeping you there in that level of poverty, then shanty tongues will arise. If central government insists on dismissing people because of their ethnicity and their political preference and allegiance, then those people have to find ways and means of earning. And so shanty tongues will arise if you call vending shanty tongue. If central government insists on oppressing a particular set of people and making them landless, shanty tongues will arise because people have to live somewhere or other. And so if you don't want shanty tongues, then the central government with the resources that we now have in this country, your policies have to elevate people out of poverty. And you have to recognize that moving out of poverty is a process. It's not an overnight thing. You can't just wake up and decide that these people selling on Newmarket Street must be removed and we don't have a place to put them. There's no place for them to go to ply their trade. You have to have a policy that says, I will work with them. I will provide alternative venues for them. I will provide alternative means of employment for them. Which city across the world doesn't have street vending? Which city across the world? As a matter of fact, street food is a world-renowned enterprise. Every day on social media, you see people featuring street food. Their videos, their documentaries on where you can get the best street food. So don't tell me that tourists coming and you don't want them to see people vending. The most important element of your society, or this equation, what you want to call it, ought to be your citizens, the well-being of your citizens. So what y'all telling me is necessary to clean up the city, is necessary to regulate Newmarket Street. It's also necessary to have policies that lift your citizens out of poverty and policies that are fair and equitable for every citizen to have opportunities to upward mobility. So what y'all telling me? Really and truly. I think some people talk because they got a hole in their face. I seriously think so. The government is rabid. It's a rabid racist. Like Dirty Critic said. Except that he was giving the description to the wrong set of people. This government is known for racism. It encourages it among its people. I got two letters I am reminded of. I read them. Where are they? I got two letters. An elderly person documenting what happened to them in '64. And an elderly person also saying, why do you think the coalition was stupidness? Where these letters demand? Even if a government decides that we want to regulate what is happening in a specific area of the city, there's something that is called timings. Your timing has to be appropriate. You have to be considerate. In December month, the end of the year, when a lot of people are working diligently to make good on their outstanding liabilities, it's when you going to come and tell people, we're going to shut you down. Because we see you as a humbug. Anyhow, I can't find my file with these letters, man. But we're going to talk about them. Right? We're going to talk about them. Any caring government would have first and foremost given people a timeline by which they should make preparation to remove from where they are. A timeline. Listen, this situation has become untenable. We are not going to allow it. We are giving you 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, a year, whatever is considered reasonable time. And reasonable time can be 15 days and even a month. To wrap up your operations and relocate from here. As a matter of fact, we have done a survey of the area and we recognize that there is a vacant lot belonging to the state on East Street, close to the very New Market Street which you are occupying. And so we will ask the Ministry of Public Infrastructure or the Mayor and Town Council which has responsibility for this area to do the necessary work to make it habitable so that you can ply your trade there. So that you can ply your trade there. That is what governments that are caring do. There's nothing to say that the Ali government is caring, you know. There's nothing to say the Ali government is caring. The Ali government caring, but not for every citizen. The Ali government is not caring for every citizen. The Ali government is caring first and foremost for Indo-Guyanese. And then they break them down by political and, well, not in political, they break them down by religious association. Muslims first in Guyana now. Hindus after. Christians after. Indians first in Guyana. Then black people after. That is how this government operates. Kerry Perry, the evidence is there. I'm going to give you evidence. You're talking about evidence? I always talk about how they left market structures in African Guyanese communities to crumble. Despite the pleas of the neighborhood democratic councils for assistance to renovate and construct and enhance market structures in African Guyanese village, they leave them to crumble. They always refuse them subventions and whatever else you call it to assist in the maintenance of those structures. Instead, they come and they give them market tarmacs. Market tarmacs. Black people must only shop at Bendong Market. They must always bend over in this society. But for the second time of the PPP in government, Monrepo's market is being redone to the tune of hundreds of billions. And Monrepo market is just one market because it's close to me. I like to reference it. I see it every day. But guess what? While they're redoing it with millions, hundreds of millions of the taxpayers' money, the predominantly Indian vending population of Monrepo Market is saying to them, we don't like what y'all do. And since we don't like what y'all do, we gonna block out what y'all do and y'all gonna fix it. And what they say? Yes, we will do that. Yes, we will do that. Go check the videos on social media. Go look for the reportage. I don't expect NCN and Chronicle and DPI and so on to bring it as raw as it is. But I got my sources. The market construction is in its second or third phase, perhaps third. And they've had a consultation with the vendors not so long ago. And all the steel markings and so on that they put to delineate the size of the stalls, the vendors broke them out. They said, this is not what we had, this is not what we're going to take. They broke them out. They said we want better than we had. And what they did, they'll do, another minister said, yes, we will follow your instruction. Because we care about you. We care about them black man. We care about them on New Market Street. We care about them in BUXTON. We care about them in Golden Grove. Because they're in the straight. And they're not support PPP. Evidence you're asking for? Evidence is right there. You know what else they tell them? We are going to give some of the people among you contracts to build stalls in the, what you call it? I know the people are fishmongers, but I don't, the fish pond, I think we usually call them in the markets. We're not going to put those contracts out to tender. So contractors can tender for them. We will select people from among you and give them the contracts to do the stalls. As we like to say, watch your right. Let us see who the people will be that will get the contracts to do the stalls. You gotta be Muslim and you gotta be Indian. There's an intersection for those of you with sets. So you gotta fall in that intersection. You're either Muslim or Indian. And there's not apartheid, and there's not religious preference, and there's not racism. Then what is that? I challenge you to explain to me, my learned friend, Kerry Perry, what is that? Don't tell me it was a WPMR working with Moses Bagwan. Due respect, I love Moses. A lot of us try to cloud, hide our wickedness by identifying who we were friends with. Is Peter denied Christ 3 times? As a matter of fact, no, don't even let me deal with Peter. Is Judas who betrayed Christ? He was a disciple. Being a disciple suggests friendship. They were close. They were close enough that Judas could have gone and kiss Christ. What y'all let's try to tell me? Huh? Let us continue to talk about political wickedness in this country. The Guyana Defense Force has issued a statement that said that you were sing out to the army. I am now learning that Ubaj was a reservist, or is a reservist, because in my mind he is a reservist. I don't know who threw you out. Right? Ubaj is a reservist. The Guyana Defense Force has issued this. Headquarters Guyana Defense Force G9 branch base camp and Guyana, blah, 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 media release. Disembodiment of Staff Sergeant Yubraj Narain from the Guyana National Reserve. Former Staff Sergeant Yubraj Narain was disembodied from the Guyana National Reserve of the Guyana Defense Force with effect from Tuesday, December 13, 2022 for conduct unbecoming of a soldier. Mr. Narain on Monday, December 12, 2022 was engaged in a civil protest action during which he uttered words that are considered to have promoted racial and religious intolerance as well as political dissonance. Several disparaging comments were made against the Commander-in-Chief and his government. As a member of the Guyana Defense Force, albeit regular or reserve, Mr. Narain is required to conduct himself in a manner that upholds the professional image and integrity of the force. Members of the force, regular and reserve, are required to adhere to the policies, regulations, and protocols of the force. The values and standards of the Guyana Defense Force are examples of such. These require, among others, adherence to core values such as discipline, integrity, and loyalty. Similarly, it requires members of the force to adhere to core standards such as responsibility, respect for the law, respect for others, correct conduct, and appropriate social behavior. Mr. Yubraj Narain's conduct on Monday, December 12, 2022 violated the above mentioned and others. Well, let me address whoever issued this statement to start with and say there's no integrity in the Guyana Defense Force. There's no integrity. There is no integrity in the Guyana Defense Force. Its leadership does not act with integrity. Its leadership takes political instructions, and this is a political instruction that it has taken. That disembody Yubraj Narain. Because look at the swiftness with which the release was made, number one. Number two, when a military man, when a soldier, a member of the military, quote-unquote, misbehaves, there's what you call a BOI. It's called a Board of Inquiry. Show me the Board of Inquiry that has returned a guilty verdict on Yubraj Narain for any of these things you accuse him of. Show me the Board of Inquiry. Show me natural justice where Yubraj Singh has had the opportunity to defend himself before the Board of Inquiry of the Guyana Defense Force. And then you're going to talk to me about standards and integrity unless you can show me that you ain't got no friggin' standard nor integrity. Because you've taken political instructions. In your release, you talk about respecting the law of the land. My interpretation, Yubraj Singh was demanding respect for the law of the land. When he said, central government has no authority in this street, it is the municipal government, and I will lay my life down for you to respect that. He got more balls than enough of y'all who sit on there issuing statements. And so don't tell anybody about integrity and good behavior. You know, it is the same foolishness. That's why half of y'all, 99% of y'all sit down there and got this country in a set of shit. Because none of you have the temerity to stand up and say to this government, you're doing nonsense and we will stand in defense of the people. Instead, you hide behind what you call standards. Loyalty and integrity. Who are you loyal to? You're loyal to your damn self and your soup. That is what you're loyal to. A month's extra pay. That's what you're loyal to. Where the loyalty and integrity that from the Guyana Defense Force, which is standing on the side and watch the citizens of this country being abused day in, day out. There's no respect for law by the Ali administration. Look around South America. Look around South America and see how members of the military have stood up for the citizens in neighboring countries. They got standard, they got integrity, they got loyalty to the population, not a politically wicked and vindictive government. And until the Guyana Defense Force could make such a stand, none of y'all ain't worth the salt. None of y'all ain't worth the paper that y'all is showing these releases on. So in my own words, to hell was the Guyana Defense Force and their standards. They have none. It's 50 minutes past 8 o'clock when the lines are open. Minutes past 8 o'clock when the lines are open. Let me tell you something. I want to be president of this country. I got a basket list. I got things to do as the president of this country. The first thing I want to get rid of is that nonsense law. That said people can't talk as they like and people can't call it as they like. People's opinions must always be fitted to what the government of the day thinks. That law must go. That law must go. People must have a freedom of expression, whether or not it is to the liking of the fat and incompetent, whatever you want to call it. Command-in-chief. Command-in-shit. Lines are open. Let me share with you the opinion of one who is associated with military field on that disembodiment foolishness. Embodiment can only be referred to a period of active duty or when one is on active duty. Call all the line. Embodiment can only be referred to a period of active duty or when one is on active duty. His worship, the mayor, is not on active duty and thus cannot be disembodied. Therefore, if a reservist is deemed unsuitable for embodiment, then he or she cannot be summoned for active duty. This is a reckless press release and should be withdrawn. It also points to interference in the forcing administration. And the senior echelons thinking? No. The senior echelons can't think. They're robotic. They have to take political instructions of low standard. They have no standard. They have no integrity. They have loyalty only to themselves and their pockets. Caller, you're live.
Yes, good morning, Doctor. Good morning to one and all. You know, from the starting of this show, from the time you started this show, I was listening more than a year, maybe just under 2 years. One thing you've been preaching all along, I don't want to blow your horn to the public, but one thing you've been preaching all along is unity, the importance of unity. You know, and people do not adhere to it until it is something which is to their doorstep. Until it's a pressure which is to their doorsteps. You know, you'll be calling everyone who had whether it's somebody killed or whatever, you'll be calling. You're not organizing with those protests, but you've been and encouraging people to do those protests. And here you go again, the defenders, they're being violated seriously. You know, their livelihoods are being violated. And you call it for it again, right? People need to listen and realize that unity is strength in numbers. So you've been calling for this, and people, even these same vendors who have been violated recently. A few of them who would have listened and would have refused to go on the previous protests that you had. But now they're realizing, you know what? This is a serious thing. So people are not realizing until it reaches to their doorsteps. So people need to come out. People need to we need to have the unity, because this struggle is for everybody. This is everybody's struggle. It doesn't matter what you look like or who you are, Indian, black, whoever you are. Muslim, Indian, whoever you are. This struggle is for everybody, because these people, this cabal that is in government now, this administration, They need to keep everything to themselves. They need to oppress everyone that does not support them, and they're going to crush everybody. So don't wait until they get to your doorstep, people. Y'all have to come out. You come out today and to the courts and support Mr. Duncan and the mayor. And then you follow up with protests along Regent Streets and other places. We need numbers. Numbers are important, right? Unity is important, because you may think this. I have plenty of friends who think to themselves that they don't need to do it because it's not bothering them, right? They're eating and whatever they're doing, right? But their time will come, because these people are trying to marshal everybody who do not support them. So you have to go, you have to go out and support, come out and protest. This is the game. Protest and be loud. You have to be loud, right? Yes, people will get injured. Yes, some people may die, right? But there's no struggle without these things, right? So we need to come out and protest and push back against this wicked and oppressive regime. Push back against it. Seriously, we need to do that. That's my time. Thank you.
Thank you. Reports are that there has been a shooting at State House, including involving presidential guards and a civilian. Very strange. Call it live, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Gaddafi. I just posted something on your program. And I'd like you to highlight it to the public. Mr. Mayor, Mr. Rumraj is entitled to a trial like a regular soldier before a senior military officer. What they give him there is a cowboy. I am a slave of the Guyana Defense Force, and it's a soldier that I saw for 13 years. I have never seen this kind of disregard and disrespect that this CDF senior man are allowing to come on the CDF. This is disgraceful, right? He has embodied as a reserve whatever rank he holds, if he commits himself during the protest or the time of his service, he must be brought before the officers, be told of the offense, just like with the police force, told of the offense, and he has two options. You can be tried by a senior officer, or you can choose to go to court-martial, where you would have the opportunity of soliciting a legal counsel to defend him. Good morning, sir. Have a blessed day.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Like I said, at least at minimum you get the board of inquiry. So it's crap they're telling you. Crap. Where's the law of natural justice? Crap they're telling you. Anyhow, look at this video. It just came into my inbox. Follow the line. Follow the line, please. I'm showing a video. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Mr. Amsterdam, I support everything that you said this morning.
You have said a mouthful and over. I'm calling on all civil-minded Guyanese to come out this morning. Let's show the PPP government what one Guyana is. That was demonstrated yesterday afternoon towards the mayor. Let us come out this morning and stand up before the court and support the mayor. This is ridiculous. These people have gone past the mark, they have passed the line. And it's time we stand up and defend our rights. Let's take to the streets today. People have no fear, and I'm making this clear to the Guyana police force. Should one shot be fired to anybody, it will be a difference. Thank you. Good morning.
Thank you for your call. Shots fired at State House. Civilian involved. I'm getting varying reports. We're going to follow it up. People must take a stand. People must take a stand. We can't continue with this abuse. Why should we? The lines remain open. 6225933 is the number to call. Call and let's talk the thing. Call it live. Good morning.
Yes, good morning. I just saw the thing on the thing like I am weak to my knees anyway. People gotta come out and support the mayor because the mayor did something. And the thing you spoke about, I could remember years ago when in front was Minister of Housing. They were issuing lands, and a set of Indian teachers went to obtain lands. Some of them dress up in the national wear, the sindoor and so, and they had Muslims. And the teachers reported that all the Muslim women were being given house lots, and all the Hindus were given nothing. When in front came in, started to think, I wonder what was it between the Muslims and the Hindus, and why did they choose a Muslim, Nandalal and Bharat. But now in front get feathers, he's flying, and he's trying to make certain he puts his people into prominent places in Guyana. And he is not going to take a back step in making certain that his Muslim brethren get the best of Guyana. And if you look at Muslims like to be on top. They would come to places in the West and they would create this thing called jihad war, because they mean that the life that the West have like North America, Canada, even on to places like England and them, they should not live that life. Because at a certain point, those countries make certain, and if they're treating the women badly, they don't do it as full-blown as the Muslim fraternity. I think the only Muslim country that where women have a fair cut at everything is in Qatar. And I think that the other Muslim countries have a grudge against Qatar because Qatar see that the women are equal. They realize that women cause them to be here. So they treat women with that respect. And because these people in that country, there is a problem within the Muslim fraternity. Now I looked at videos there last night, and I saw what happened to the mayor. And in front should not be annoyed. The mayor has stooped to make a common ground with in front. And in front never ever stretched out his hand. With all you've read, is a Kuli like in front. You know why? Because he's a Hindu. And he was quite right to say what he said. But the only problem is that he should never have apologized for what he said. Words have been. In front go. He cussed down everybody know. Dr. Hinds is a doctor. He do his thesis, he is a doctor. He called Dr. Hinds a joker. He has not apologized to Dr. Hinds. He went into Maka. He cussed out the Maka chairman. Say what you like. That is a chairman and that is a big man. People will talk a lot of things about President Granger. When he was running, he started to show and talk a lot of ill things about President Granger. President Granger is a big man. He showed him no respect as far as age. And in front goes around trying to embarrass people. But you know, when you're a dunce, you would cuss out at people because you are suffering from inferiority complex. Because you don't got this body education. You don't got this body status. And because you are lower in the gutter, you look to see who you could pull down and trample underneath you. To say, well, you know what? I tell the body so with all me got the body qualities. That is what he does. And he has never apologized to anybody. And when it comes, look, Mark Phillips, in front, Moonshine call him a parasite. He look at Ejil, he tell Ejil, shut up, don't make noise. And they have never ever apologized to those black man them that but it said that they gave them high standing. They have never apologized to them. And that is what they go through. So if a coolie call another coolie, you fragile coolie call in front of coolie and say you hate me because you're a Muslim and me a Hindu. I don't see why they should charge him. But the one for see, if they could find out what class they charge in the under. A class is the two Rosedale Ford. And I know they're going to get justice because I know Rosedale don't know what part of the law book to attack the charge on. The charge shouldn't stand up in court. And I hope people, y'all go. Y'all here will go on at State House. You don't know it's who to shoot down. And this means that they have started in war. This hate signifies that social unrest has begun. And look when he going light up, he imported such a big snowman looking like himself. And he put it all around. When was emancipation? He made certain he had boat crews to distort emancipation. Now Christmas is a Christian holiday, and a lot of them with Kimara and Sindur buying more things than black people for Christmas. Now look, this is you don't know how far the shooting gonna lead to. The thing we do to the mayor, we don't know how far it's gonna be leading to. A couple days before a holiday. Bye bye.
Thank you for your call. I see Joy Fraser. Joy Fraser, I see. I don't know who you are. Like I usually say, you can be anybody behind social media. Joy asked the question, when you were arrested, Mr. Amsterdam, who came out and supported you? What makes the mayor different or so special than you? Just asking. Well, let me explain to you. The mayor is not special than me. We all are special in our own right. We all choose our activism. And I'm not going to say because according to you, nobody came out to support me, nobody must go to support the mayor. I maintain this and I will explain to you again. My activism is not about individualism. My activism is against a system that is wicked and corrupt and vindictive and racist. That's my activism. The mayor is in the same fight as I am against a wicked and corrupt and vindictive system. And so I don't care who called for support when I was arrested, or who came to support when I was arrested. I am saying again, the enemy of my enemy is my friend. And for as long as we are fighting for the same causes, I will support whoever is fighting that cause. And Human Rights is fighting that same cause. Right? They caught the stream just now. I recognize it. They caught the stream. I recognize it. Right? That is what we have to fight. A system that is racist and vindictive. Don't come and put doubt. Don't ask me who was out there with me and why now I'm calling for people to be out there with you, Raj. There are people who are out there with me. But I offered to come to my last court here and say, Rwanda, stay home, clean house or do something. Rest yourself. I good. Paul from Sheriff Street turned up at my last court hearing, or the one prior to the last. Paul turned up. I thank you for turning up. I thank all those who came up. But not because, according to y'all, they turn up for me, I can tell them don't turn up for you, Raj. I can tell them turn up for the cause. That is what we're fighting together, the cause. Call it life.
Morning, Kadaki, and morning, Guyana. I stated yesterday in my call that Guyana should have been a long time ago in turmoil because apparently we only want to see, and that goes for a lot of the Kori people, they only want to see what they're getting from the coffers of the state. And we, the Africans, simply sat back and take it. Now, they've showed up a little bit. It should have been a definitely much more show of force. Lots and lots of women out there I have seen. And we've got to get the men for reinforcement. So while the police may take advantage of the women, we need the men to now come and back them up. So for men, we need to be out there too. So it cannot be the women leading from the front, and I guess they have seen that, they have actually taken that position. And I guess in life, a lot of women do the leading and the men following. So we've got to understand what these people are doing. Now, in my belief, the whole Constitution needs to change. How are you going to have a mayor and the central government overriding that thing? It seems like the Constitution is the issue. So it is also incumbent upon the APNU in the position they're in, and I haven't heard them talking about the Constitution itself. It's just that we've got to safeguard it and place something there that simply does not prosecute the idiot A-Fraud Ali. I mean, that needs to be changed. All over, the whole Constitution needs to be blown up, just like the racist, mafia-style PPP. Get these people out of there.
I mean, the billions of contracts that they have given out to their people over the 23 years have put them in this position. And as long as we are asleep at the wheel to understand, this just didn't happen today. They have been cultivating this for the past 23 years for giving contracts to people who have no idea what they're doing. But what they're doing is giving away the people's money. And the chickens have come home to roost because for 23 years I felt that the Africans have did nothing. And hence, they're back for round 2. Licks. And the question is, in the next 23 years, if we don't do nothing now, it's the same problem we'll have in the next 23, 24 years. So burn it down and let's start over fresh. That's my take.
Thank you for your call. Voice. We jamming the city, could burn down. We jamming still. Morning. It is the 16th day of December in the year 2022. Welcome to another program of BUXTONIAN Morning Time. 2 vex loose. We jamming still. Good. It's now 7 hours 25, yes. And it's Free Talk Fridays. I like when it comes to Free Talk Fridays because sometimes I get to talk my mind. As what people say, let's get for empty my chest. And let's get to talk my mind. Welcome. I don't know what you made of yesterday, but yesterday was a noteworthy day. Yes, yesterday was a noteworthy day. A lot of things happened yesterday that we have to take note of. Welcome to the program. I hope that you made some money yesterday. It's time for making money. Right? You ask the merchants on Regent Street and Water Street and so on, and they will tell you, yeah, this is the time for making money. So I hope you have made some money. I hope you are still living your dream, you're still fighting to get to that goal. Right? Self-actualization. Don't let nobody control you. How did you rest last night? Some people rested well. Some people were certainly discomforted. Some people were certainly restless. Had a sleepless night. I'm happy for those who rested well. I'm also happy for those who were restless. But I'm especially happy for those who made them restless. I'm being very honest here. Right? Let's talk about some of the things that were noteworthy yesterday. let's start with that which we closed the program with yesterday morning. An attempted breach, they say, at State House, the official residence of the fat guy. An attempted breach. I say an attempted breach because that is what I interpret it as. As a matter of fact, investigations are still happening. They say they have invited Interpol to assist in investigations. What I'm hearing is that was no breach, no attempt on the life of the president or the person who lives in that house. I hear the security and the knife man are the personal goals. Have you heard that? That the presidential guard, as we call him, and the attacker, let's call him the attacker, the lone wolf, had something personal. There was some kind of personal goals. Y'all know what I'm saying? And so I hope that's an angle that they will be willing to investigate. Because right now the only angle they're promulgating, the only angle they're milking, like when you got a milking cow, is that somebody attempted to breach the security to get to the president, most likely to assassinate him. So I'm hoping that they will see all angles and they will investigate all angles. But you see, journalism is a messed up thing in this country. And the day the media starts to report issues as they are and analyze issues as they occur is the day when people will catch sense in this country. People will get woke. I see people are throwing out headlines like mad, gunman. Gunman, gunman, gunman. The man did not start off as a gunman. It's not me, I'm only reporting what they report. You know what I'm saying? I'm only saying what they said. Big Smith and the others are saying gunman. I am saying lone wolf. I am saying attacker. I am saying intruder. I am saying knife man. Knife wielding man. Because the genesis of the matter is that a man approached, according to the police, this presidential guard, and said, well, the president. And before he could have perhaps gotten a response or acted accordingly, the man took out a knife and started stabbing him. I will tell you this. I'm not a criminologist, but I know for a fact that when a man attacks you with a knife, it's a very personal thing. A gun is more impersonal. I don't have to get close to you. It's less personal. It's more impersonal, a gun. A knife is a very personal attack. And so apparently the man used a request for the president as, what we call it, a red herring to get into the face of the security close enough to start to stab him. Right? I am saying, because I've heard it on the streets, this is a personal thing. And so all the y'all who running around and say gunman and attempt on the president's life, take a step back. Analyze the facts of the situation. Analyze. When Minister Parag, I never really discussed this story, but I'm going to discuss it now. Or at least I'm going to reference it. When the niece of Minister Parag, Janil, when Janil got found with drugs at the Timeri airport, or wherever it was, Timeri I think, they sent her for a psychological evaluation. I hope they will send this lone wolf for a psychological evaluation. Because I'm sitting here and saying, since you're saying it's an attempt to do harm to the president, it's an attempt on the president's life, I am sitting here to say it's a madman who will turn up at the president's official residence with a knife to do him harm. I am saying that it's a madman. And so that man should be taken for psychological evaluation. But as an aside, and this is something we're going to talk about later in the program, they might be sending him to a mad house where a mad medical superintendent operates. We're going to talk about that mad medical superintendent later. I'm dropping hints and bombs. Right? So I'm saying, if you're saying that this man came to do harm to the president with a knife in his waist, the man got to be mad. And if he is mad, the president seems to be prone to attracting the attention of madmen. Because when Lusignan was running crazy, Moripo was running crazy, following the murder of Brendan Bacchus, it was a madman who said to Robson Ben, allegedly, I'm going to kill the president. A madman, I think that is Kaliwaki. Y'all remember the story? So I want to believe the president has an attractiveness to madmen. And they say likes attract. So y'all must walk out. But the reality is, a lot of people are quick to jump to judgment and say, well, this man was making an attempt on the president's life. I want to understand the rationale. I see the coalition, you know, sir. Friday mornings are dangerous to me, you know. I make a lot of enemies on Fridays. I see the coalition was quick to issue a statement. Without having all the details, they said this is our initial statement. We denounce violence. And we're concerned about the well-being, I'm paraphrasing here, or interpreting. We are concerned about the well-being of the first family. All well and good. As the main opposition party, as they say, CYA cover your ass. It's your statement already, so they don't say that you're happy for this. Well, I got something to tell y'all. I have something to tell y'all this morning. Let us consider violence that the first family has been causing on people in this society. Let us denounce that violence. You know, the good book says violence begets violence. Violence begets violence. And so if you have a first family that is violent to the citizens of this country, it is likely that the citizens will react to that first family in a violent way. And so let's assume for 1 minute that they're right in their claims that this man was attempting to do harm to the first family. Let us ask ourselves, was he responding to harm that was done to him and his family? Let's talk about that. That's what I like, the hard truth. Let's face it. Am I mad to just turn up at your house and say I gotta grouse with you? Or you might have done something to stimulate my anger. I see Big Smith, I'm quoting Big Smith this morning. Big Smith said in his headline that the man is Haitian, but in his story he says he's Nigerian. In short, I'm saying this to you, the man is of African descent. Why was it important to point out that a man is of African descent? And let us make the nexus between a man of African descent wanting to do harm to the first family according to the news. Who are the people that the first family is handing down the most harm to in this society? People of African descent. And so what the heck do I care if you get what you give? If you get what you give, am I an apologist to who? That incident yesterday, I hope that it causes a finale, and it causes the bigwigs in the PPP, and it causes the first family to stop. Take pause and ask yourself if this is where you want this society to go. Ask yourself if this is where you want the Guyanese society to go, where people are so fed up, people are so disoriented, people are so disgusted, people have become so hopeless that they want to turn up at the official residence with a knife in their waist to do harm to the president, according to the reports. That should cause you to stop and think, what have I done? What have I been doing in this society to cause someone, anyone, regardless of ethnicity, regardless of political affiliation? As a matter of fact, I'm not national, according to Big Smith, to want to turn up at my gate to do me harm. What have I done? What have I been doing? And what I need to stop doing and start doing to change the situation. So all of you are wrong and talking about, I am concerned for the safety of the first family. I'm concerned for the safety of every damn Guyanese. Because those who ain't bold enough and those who can't get close enough to the first family gate go turn to somebody else's gate and they're going to take their anger out of them. They're going to take their frustration out of somebody else in the society, despite the fact that the frustration originates from within the compound of the first family. Are you put your fat husband down to sit down and get through his thick skull that he is doing a bundler, a scuddler in this society and putting people at the extreme? And not only putting people at the extreme, but according to the report, putting your family at risk. Putting your family at risk. And if you can't put your husband down to sit down and let him understand that he needs to change course, you are part of the problem too. You're part of the problem too. And if you're part of the problem too, what care should I have about you? You have no care for the people, I have no care for you. You know what I'm saying? Violence begets violence. It's the good book says so. Every now and again I like go to the book, good book. I like to think in my mind that I'm not a disciple of the good book. But all knowledge is knowledge. And if the good book guides and says, hey, violence begets violence. And we see that the president, installed as he is attracting violence according to the reports, then you have to ask, what did this man do to attract violence? I don't want y'all tell me that this guy came to this country 4 years ago, whatever his name. That he's Asian or Nigerian, I don't know up to know which one is he. Because, like I said, I am relying on Big Smith. You know why sometimes I pay attention to Big Smith stories? I really believe the man can't write for his life. I usually say that. He and the English language are always at war. But, you know why I pay attention to stories sometimes? Because he is close to the devil. And if you want to know what's going on in hell, look for the devil right hand man or woman. And so if you want reliable police information, like Big Smith. Ian Hickens like Batty and Poe. Y'all know old people that say they like Batty and Poe, they like Batty and Poe. And so, why do you think he gets all the breaking news coming out of the police force and details? Huh? Good. But back to the story. Why would a foreign national want to cause harm to your president installed as he is? According to the stories, this man came here 4 years ago. He's a trained security personnel. He worked with Amalgamated Security Services. For how long, I don't know. Later in the day, I learned that the police went charging into professional guard service, looking for information about this man. Because apparently he worked there too, maybe most recent place of employment. Why would someone, foreign national, most likely left this country, whether Haiti or Nigeria or wherever, I don't know where from here, came to this country looking for a better day because he's employed, he's looking for employment, he's employed. Wake up one morning and decide like going at the gate of the president and I want to kill him. I want to cut out the toe for me. I want his lip. I want to cause him harm. Why? What would have triggered that? Either insanity or what is interpreted by that individual as some injustice on the part of the president. Interpol, I hope, will help them to figure that out. But for me, I ain't concerned about who ain't concerned about me. Violence begets violence, remember that. If you're oppressively violent to people, a time will come when they will be violent in response. Because look at a cat. When a cat is cornered, I tell you all a cat story from Buxton. When a cat is cornered, that is when the cat is at its most dangerous. Because it has to survive. It's a survival instinct. That is when it attacks. And so this administration led by the fat guy is continuously forcing people into corners, into untenable positions. Then they will push back at some point in time. The vendors came out yesterday in their numbers. They came out, people saying to back you Branch Narain. But I'm saying they came out to resist the bullyism of central government and to support a system, a local government system, who the figurehead happens to be Branch Narain, that is favorable to them. A local government system that is favorable to them. A local government system that allows them to ply their trade on New Market Street. That is what they came out to support. Not individual, not people. It's a system they came out to support. It happened that Branch Narain is the head, the figurehead of that system. Just like Ali is the figurehead of the system which continues to oppress those very people. And so the vendors were out there in their numbers. And they were chanting in support of Branch Narain because he has a system that benefits them. You know what I fault the opposition for? A failure to give direction to those people yesterday. A failure to give direction to those people yesterday. Everybody on social media on Kams Tv is wonderful. I like how y'all got the numbers out there. I like how the people came out and so on. The people that wait and lead us to come out. I say that. They came out to represent their interests. They came out to defend a system that was favorable to them. And like I say, when the people lead, leaders got to follow. And the leaders were out there too, because everybody looking for the moment in front of the camera. I was there. That's what everybody wants to see. But while you were there, what did you do that will make a difference in this situation? The people are out there. They're supporting the system. They're backing the figurehead of the system. And the most pertinent question I ought to ask from the people, what is our next move? What is our next move? What is our next move? And you know what the leadership told them? Do just what y'all do this morning. Tune into social media. Because we have no access to the mainstream media, stay tuned to social media and you will know what is the next move. The people are right there. By the time you turn up in front of the courts or in the courts or to face the people, you should have already know what the next move is. And in my book, the next move was stay on the streets until you get justice. Stay on the streets until you get justice. If I can't eat, they can't eat. If you can't eat, nobody must eat. That was the next move for me. And I'm disappointed because nobody gave them that message. At least not when they asked. At least not in the open, as far as I am aware. Here you have a large group of people fighting for their survival, because my understanding is that the cabal and their goons went back anyhow and removed the caravans. And so they remove the caravans, it means that these people are out there fighting now don't have a means of survival. They don't have caravans to go to work. And so they got all there to do nothing. Let's say that, but struggle. And so my instruction, quite frankly, would have been, stay on the street, let us occupy the streets until we get justice, until the situation at New Market Street is rectified, until we are given back our vending spots or alternative, suitable alternative vending spots have been identified for us. Let us stay on the street. And so let us start a season of protest, because this can't be no Yuletide season anymore. They're taking joy out of we. The robbery of the opportunities to earn and to provide for our family. And so some people can get Yuletide seasons and some don't. Let us stay on the street. That would have been my next move. That would have been my instruction. At some point in time, a discourse had to take place. Whether you see it as a Muslim Hindu discourse, or whether you see it as a central government, local government discourse, or whether you see it as a minister mayor discourse, a discourse had to take place. But when we tell them go home, sit and watch social media, wait for instructions, what are we doing? We're defeating ourselves. We are defeating ourselves. By the time we're ready to give those instructions in social media, a lot of people might have been gotten to. A lot of people might have been told, don't worry, we got you. And be comforted by nice words. Right? A lot of people might have given up the fight. How about that? How about that? Sometimes we drop the ball when it is in the middle of our hands. Catches win matches, but we don't hold on to them. We don't hold on to them. We dropping catches. And that's why we're losing matches. Because the PPP is of the opinion the opposition has no response to their bullyism. And so they will continue to bully supporters of the opposition because the opposition ain't doing nothing and can't do nothing about it. It's like the village bully. You catch a pack, we recognize every time he beat you, you're crying and go. Every time he see you, he gonna beat you. Because you ain't doing nothing but it. Your big brothers ain't doing nothing but it. All you doing is take election go. I saw the village bully tell himself, I got you here, boy. If your big body don't frighten me, they ain't coming. I'm going to torment the living out of you. That is what this wicked and vindictive government does. When the opposition responds appropriately, it's going to stop. So far, they're responding appropriately. They're playing nice. We can't afford to play nice. We can't continue to play nice. Quite frankly, I want a couple more mad people turn up at the president gate. They must go with garbage. They must go with empty pots and pans, ragged clothes. More mad people need to turn up at the president's gate. Let them stop. Let them take pause and ask himself in which direction he needs to go. Remember the story of the cookbook? Was it Paul and Saul? Paul's name had to be changed to Saul? Or was it Saul's name changed to Paul? One bucks after the jackass that he did writing to persecute Christians. Sometimes that's all it takes. One bucks, a proverbial bucks, some people need to get to open their eyes and realize they're doing the wrong thing. I hope yesterday's incident was a finale's proverbial bucks. Good. It's 6 minutes to the 8 o'clock hour. That's something else to talk about. I tell y'all. Anyhow, I feel like jamming still. Let me jam a little bit. It's Friday, you know. And let me stick up in here. You know about Morgan that is always on this program. Every morning he greets you. From number 51, I think. Today's his birthday. Let's shout out happy birthday to Albert Morgan. Big up yourself, Alpha. It's your birthday today. I wish you many, many more. We need your knowledge. You got to stick around and, you got to impart some of that knowledge to the younger generation. Big up yourself and stay strong. Long life, Albert Morgan. We jamming still. Get them work, you gotta get them work 24/7. They must fight for take a wink. Yeah? They must fight to take a wink. Because since you blink like the other Steve, it must go on. The quiet, the peace, it must disappear in the wink, in the twinkling of an eye. Hold them and walk them. Right? There's a mad woman at the National Psychiatric Hospital. I said she's mad. The government says she's the medical superintendent. Note the difference of definition. I am saying this woman is mad. The government is saying she's the medical superintendent. Why is she mad? You know me, I don't always call name at first. I like drop hints. And so somebody knows her, And somebody will tell her that I'm dropping hints, that she's mad. I said she gonna check herself. I'm breaking the rules. Call home here, help you. Good morning. You're live though.
Hello, Mr. Amsterdam. Good morning.
Let's tell you, this is not the calling time for the program, but answer your call. Go ahead and talk.
Yes, I will be looking at your program every morning from the United Kingdom. When I'm at work and when I'm at home. And I am happy to hear you this morning saying what you're saying concerning a lot of things that are going on in Guyana, especially with the incidents that the residents.
Bye-bye. See how you get back. I said see them when I get back. Good. Yeah.
Hello?
Yes, yeah, I'm listening, caller.
Yes, with the incident of the president residence. Listen, I was in the police force, I was in the fire service, I work at Gaisuku. And all this nonsense since the PPP get into power, all these nonsense with black people just gone quiet. Like it's all the strong black people from Guyana, like they're living abroad at the minute. Because the situation I watch is that too many black people just depend on remittance from people abroad, the family abroad, so they feel comfortable without taking this nonsense from this Ali administration. And they're not doing anything. Protests, the vendors, everybody has been disrupted, vendors, everybody, and it seems that nobody don't care. Everybody just sit down and relaxing and taking this nonsense that is going on in Guyana with the oil money. You could see it blatantly. These people are just racist, you know, and you guys talk about apartheid Guyana. Just shoot, you could see it. You understand? We living in the diaspora, we could see, we could listen, we know what's going on. And then the AP and you sympathizing with this installed government. And to be blamed is all these ABC country ambassadors that's in the country that just sit down. They're just depending on what they could get from Guyana. And when they get it, they left it and they run it again. They come back to England, they go to America and enjoy it. And it's the Guyanese people who are struggling in Guyana. Guyanese people need to wake up. Black people need to wake up. That's all I have to say, man. I'm disgusted when I hear all these nonsense on social media and see what's going on in Guyana. Jadio with Sue. How come nobody goes out to the mayor just defending his territory? People vote him in there. Listen, I'm tired and fed up with the situation in Guyana. Thank you.
Thank you for your call. Robin said I'm opening up a can of worms. More calls will come. It's Free Talk Friday, you know. I don't have to control the conversation. I'm only the facilitator. Is that a word? Mm-hmm. I think so. Right? Just allow the fact that Guyanese government is facilitating the transfer of Guyanese wealth to their friends and cronies based on ethnicity and religiosity. I'm only facilitating the discourse of these issues. But back to the mad woman at psychiatric hospital. I understand this woman was sent there as a medical superintendent. But she, in essence, has taken over the administration of the psychiatric hospital. She has no respect whatsoever for the administrator. And you know, people are always saying, long time gone, short time left. That's the administrator's position. Listen, long time gone, short time left. I am not a favorite of this government. I ain't look like them. They don't like me. They would like to get rid of me at the drop of a pin. This mad medical superintendent was sent by this government. And so whatever this mad medical superintendent wants to do, I will stay in my corner and pray for my short time which is left. I ain't getting in she way. She could get in me way. Because she got the right. She got the blessings of the Ali government. And them in charge now is them time. They could do what I like. I will save myself for my retirement day, which is coming shortly, so that I can go home, enjoy my gratuity and my pension. I give her no wrong. I give her no wrong. But for as much as it is affecting the staff relations at the psychiatric hospital, it means that it also will affect the quality of service to the inmates, the patients there. And so it has been drawn to my attention that this mad medical superintendent needs an evaluation. Disrespects the administrator, rubs the muck of every rule, addresses the staff in inhumane ways, threatens them with violence. I said, why you do this thing, go and do it, mother son, no. I ain't frightened none of your sons, so I got my names. There's got to be a mad woman. Because no administrator, no manager, in their right senses, behaves like that. I understand that the staff has complained high and low. There's a union representative on the staff there that she's now giving hell because the union rep is standing up for her rights and the rights of other workers. But this mad medical superintendent, up until now, is allowed to do what she wants to do, despite all of these complaints by staff, all of the representation by the union rep. And it's like last week there was a meeting with the regional medical officer or somebody, representative or representatives of the union, and the mad medical superintendent. At the end of the day, they were told the government sent the mad medical superintendent to do a job. And she will get it done regardless of what who says. I'm just letting y'all know. I'm just bringing it to the fore. And so those of you who have more information on this mad medical superintendent, y'all could call the line and let's talk about it. But in the meantime, the staff at the National Psychiatric Hospital is working under duress. They got to tiptoe because this woman has no respect for administration. She has no ethics. She barges into everybody's department and does what she wants to do. Understand right now the war that is waging between herself and a staff is because she is not getting free access and free reign to the drugs from the pharmacy. Because she operates at a private institution also. And so she comes with prescriptions to have them filled. And on several occasions they have been denied. And since she can't get free reign and access to the people drugs, she's out to make some people's lives misery. I am sure the others will know about her. I await more information on this mad medical superintendent. Next week I might call her name if the madness continues. Call her live, good morning.
Yes, good morning. Happy Friday to you and all my black brothers and sisters. I'll be saying it on your program all the time. I'll be nodding after stop, stick a pin, and tell yourself, if I'm going to be a good leader now is the time. Yesterday was the time for you to say something. What you said is right. They did not prepare for telling people them, hey, tomorrow morning we coming back here. We could spend all week here. Christmas, we could be outside here. What that young lady said about media, so wait, if the media get black for all week, black man was punished for all week until the media come on for hear something. That is not politics. And that is what beating the MPs them today. My grandmother teach me the age of 9. Don't be educated fool, be educated wise. Enough. MP today in Guyana is educated fools. Because they're only talking and talking. What the Kolima, the Dutch people, they're doing the black man and not correcting him. I mean, have to stop, sit down with the private sector and these diplomats. It's waste of time. It is your country, your people punishing, they select you, and you are to move on. Don't play no pretty boy. Desmond Prasad, shake hands with them, and look what happened 22 years. Carbin, shake hands with them keep Carbin out of office. Granger Prasad, shake hands with them, and he turn over the key and give to them. It is time for black leaders to stop them nonsense and just talking about what they're doing to black men. What I've done, kill up all black men, today you have to do something. It's nonsense, garbage. They never come to prepare for telling people there, hey, what you going to do tomorrow? Look, when you went and sit down with the private sector, I called him. I said, that is waste of time. The private sector came out yesterday and said, what the government is doing is Christmas time. No, they protect their money. Not the poor black people. They came at poor black people in Guyana. And they were having that. Have to stop doing the nonsense now. This is my boy. I grew up under him with politics, yes. But you have to change your attitude, Abinat. You is the leader. You are the leader. Always come prepared to do something positive for the country that you could get followers at your buckets. We don't wait on media. Media is not human being. It's program. Human being have to survive. It is shameful and ridiculous now with the coalition then. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your call. Somebody's asking if Aubrey Norton was there. Yes, Aubrey Norton was there. Aubrey Norton was there up until they came out of the gate of the courts. When Ubraj and his legal team were addressing the protesters, Aubrey was standing on the pavement.
Hello?
Call all the line, please.
Hello?
Caller, 1 minute, please. When the crowd headed north, Aubrey headed south, and that was it. Call your live, good morning.
Yes, hello?
Call your live, good morning.
Yes, good morning, sir. I'm calling on behalf of the TCU at the Psychiatric Hospital.
Yes, we're listening, go ahead.
Hello?
Caller. Okay, it's obvious that this person is a first-time caller. The rule is simple. When you call the program, you speak on a phone call. You don't listen to the program to hear what's coming through. You speak. You're speaking to me on the phone. Because if you wait to hear yourself on the program, you're going to have a lot of lapse in between the conversation. And you believe no one is listening to you. So speak to the phone. You're having a conversation with me. I might not respond, but you're having a conversation with me. The lines remain open. 6225933 is the number to call. And I want this caller to call me back. The caller that's calling on behalf of the people at the National Psychiatric Hospital, we like some house. Call it live, good morning.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Kadaki. Good morning, everyone in the diaspora. Good morning, all Guyanese. Big up and happy Earth Day to brother Union Man, fellow Barbician from Big Bad Barbies, Mr. Morgan. You know, we like to acknowledge brother on this day, as we would acknowledge any other person who is, you know, part of the show on this special day, right? on the issue with Mayor Narayan and Sherrod Duncan. It's not just Mayor Narayan, it's Mayor Narayan and Sherrod Duncan. Now, the Mayor Narayan story, together with Sherrod Duncan's story, we noticed that the coalition decided to come out. And that's good. It is good that Comrade Norton and his team, together with Ramjatan and them, decided to come out and stand on this issue, because it's the issue that needs to be stood on, that needs to have some pushback on. We agree with that. And I commend that. I want to say that. I commend that. But I also want to take a note from the previous caller who spoke about Comrade Norton. He is making a point that somehow Comrade Norton is only going half the distance. And maybe Comrade Norton has reasons for going half the distance. I know Comrade Norton has to be keenly aware that he needs to send a particular message to the support base. And the support base is much bigger than those that were on the street yesterday. While we see them as important, it is much bigger than those on the street with you. We just don't want to go half the distance. We want to go all the way. Or we want to go the necessary distance to fulfill the objective. Now, if the objective is just to send a message to the PPP, telling them that they cannot do this to the mayor and Sherrod, that's good. But the mayor issue is a Johnny-come-lately issue. The mayor issue is a small-time issue compared to the bigger issue of removing the PPP. The PPP are squatting in office, and we ain't standing up as we should on that matter. We started out by saying they're illegitimate. We started out by saying credible votes, valid votes. Where did that protest go? I'm asking Comrade Norton. Comrade Norton ran on the ticket that he will do necessary protests, necessary action to remove the PPP. How come that action has evaporated? And now we are getting a distraction with Mayor Omraj Narayan. Yes, we're going to stand up on principle, but what about the principle that the PPP are illegitimate and they're squatting in office on an illegitimate count? Doesn't that call for the same kind of protest that we given Mayor Narayan? What happened to that protest? How come now we shift the goalposts and make it seem like Mayor Narayan is the real fight? Mayor Narayan is just a distraction in the fight. Now we're removing the PPP with Mayor Narayan's fight. How is that happening? How are we getting so misdirected? Again, I said, look, we got to stand for Mayor Narayan. But Mayor Narayan only happened last week. And he's not the biggest fight. He's just a victim of circumstances, a circumstantial subsequent action. What about the main action? So I asked the PNC and the APNU AFC, what happened to the protest for the real objective? Where did that go? Another point I wanted to raise, and I raised this before, maybe the PNC and the coalition have other goals, and their goals don't align with our goals. Have we ever considered that? For those of us who are always wondering and asking ourselves, how come this thing boiling down? How come this thing always going and then stopping short? Maybe the coalition believes that they just need to do enough to satisfy the emotions of the support base. You know, like a dog, just bark loud enough. But don't intend to bite. Just intend to bark louder. We see the coalition doing a kind of a bark thing. But after the bark, they just put the tail between the legs and back up to the back of the yard. And we're asking ourselves, why is that becoming the norm? Is it that they're so worried about EXXON and the money that's coming to Guyana that they would do just about anything that resembles standing down? The coalition has been standing down ever since August the 2nd for matters which Aubrey Norton would not stand for in his personal life. These types of things we will not stand for in our personal lives. So I know that these are matters which we are definitely offended by. Why are we allowing them to happen? What can be the reason? I can see no other reason but we are being made to stand down by ExxonMobil. Because ExxonMobil contract says that if there is sufficient disturbance in Guyana, they're going to stop the oil money from flowing. So then you find persons like Granger and Harmon and Norton standing down because of the money.
But Coffee, we ain't getting the money, so why we concerned about the money?
Pardon?
We ain't getting the money, so why should we be concerned about the money?
Good question. But that's to show you. It's not about we. It's not about me and you, Kadaki. It's about them and the elite. You see? They're only associating with us to assimilate us, to co-opt us, to get the vote. Then when they get the vote, they're doing their thing. That's why our interests and their interests are not in sync. When we think we are in sync with them, they are only pretending to be in sync with us. That's my point. So I'm glad you asked that question. That's why we see the standing down, because they're standing up for EXXON. They're standing up for foreign interests, but they're standing down for me and you. If I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong. Standing up for foreign interests, standing up for everything else. But when it comes to our issues, they are going half the distance, mostly standing down, when they ought to be standing up. And that's why we keep asking our question. Why are they falling short? Does it occur to you that if you don't like the way a person is driving a vehicle, then you stop the vehicle and say, step over, let me take the wheel? I've always told us that the Constitution, the preamble of the Constitution, doesn't say we the PNC. It doesn't say we the PPP. It says we the people of Guyana. See, we are the ones who need to be at the wheel. But we've got to come to that kind of mindset that the persons who have been at the helm are not behaving appropriately. Look, if the coalition wants to behave appropriately, then they need to come and sit down with us and ask us and talk with us, because notice, it's our vote.
Wrap up, Coffee.
It's our interest. Okay, I'm going to wrap up. So we need to start considering, while we are supporting the coalition, yes, we support the coalition. But the coalition needs to begin to go the distance. They need to begin to go the distance. And the distance does not include what they've been doing for the last 23 years. Standing up for Mayor Umraj is a good step. But we should have been maintaining the stand up for elections and the legitimacy of the PPP. Once again, thank you for listening.
Thank you for calling. If cake making, and I ain't getting no cake, you think I gave you oven catch a fire? Well, alright. Yeah, I get me too wrong. I'm trying to get that call who called me before coffee. I think this is the number. I want to hear more about the mad house with the mad medical superintendent. Yes, you called just now, right? On behalf of the people at the psychiatric hospital?
Morning, sir.
Good morning to you.
Sir, I would like to give a brief little talk about this situation at the psychiatric hospital.
Go right ahead.
Who is this woman? I really don't know. Right? But let me say this. Her behavior is atrocious. And it's wrong. Right? She's making staff uncomfortable. You understand me? And I truly believe she needs to go. Nothing else, no reasoning, no nothing. Let her leave because she's causing problem in the institution. She's doing things she's not supposed to do. She's talking to any manner she chooses, and that is wrong, sir. And I believe somebody should look into it seriously and let her go.
Do you know of any particular incident with this woman that you want to highlight for us?
Yes, there was the incident whereby she called the nurses cataract. Now what is that? How you would call nurses cataract? Why you gonna tell nurses, right? You don't care about nothing till the government get your back. What does that mean?
Is it true that she has threatened people with guns? Says she got the 9s.
She told people that's how she gets to go home. I don't know how is that. Oh, I don't know why she would tell people that, but I don't know what. This woman like the crazy. She should be, instead of the MS, she should be in the ward being nursed by one of us.
Thank you, caller.
You're welcome.
If you got a mad medical superintendent, then she's the right place. It's just for the psychiatrist to assess her. Mad people. Sharma said I got mad people all over the place. Most of them outside and in. Call it live, good morning.
Hello?
Call it live, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Kadaki. Good morning to the listening public. I am questioning this woman, Sarah Lynch. Why is she still in the country and making statements about the government is doing this and the government, and she wants to congratulate the government of doing this and all them things. Things like the situation with Uberge. I have not heard her come out and make no statement about what is going on with the mayor, who is a chief citizen. How could the police lock up the chief citizen for saying something that is not, incriminatory? You know what I mean? I cannot understand that. Why is she so involved? Why is she so involved? And number two, the 007 man, I think he's the one that blew this thing out of proportion when he made his live. And then Uberge now went, probably take some sort of advice from him and apologize. And that is what the administration had wanted, right? Because when he apologized, they said, okay, this is a weakness, and we must pry on this weakness that he did, right? So I don't see why the 007 man, he probably coerced the mayor into apologizing for what? Nothing. And I think it's time this woman should leave. This U.S. ambassador should leave, should go away. She's always in people's business, you know what I mean? She's so taken up in people's business, right? Is she in the business of the United States government or Guyanese business?
But caller, caller.
Yeah.
Being in the business of Guyanese business is the United States business. So you get this thing wrong if you don't understand.
Yeah, okay. You're right. You're right in a sense. You're right. But you know what I'm saying? That, she mostly like, a spokesperson for this government. Why is it so? Why is it so? Okay, that's my contribution.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Caller live, good morning.
Good morning. That caller should stop calling that thing the 007 man. And I called to comment on that thing, the umbrella man. The incident at the president's residence, he always liked to jump on. I don't know if if his pen come through his ass. Right? He always write crap. He's gonna first thing say that the man is a Nigerian and what kind of vetting was done before the man gets into the country. Right? Do he know if that man came here with good intentions, right, and was radicalized after he got here? That's one. Do he know of the man's mental state? Right? He just can't willy-nilly saying these things, and then he's going to say he don't want to be xenophobic. But just by mentioning Nigeria, his name, right, it's a person, and I don't care where the person comes from. A person could be radicalized in the country, out the country. A person could run crazy in the country or out the country. So he just like to make statements and loose statements. That boy should stay away from Facebook and stay away from everything because, he's
Somebody needs to take away his devices.
Yes, take away devices and puppy brain because it makes no sense. He and all need to go to the psychiatric ward. Yeah, he's a fool. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Caller, before you go, the caller gone. I like to talk about the masquerade, and this is masquerade season. You've heard of court jesters, right? Jesters, Jesters, court jesters. They provided entertainment for the what? The monarchy and so on. And masqueraders do likewise. Masqueraders perform their act so that they can collect their patencies. What you all expect? Somebody says that 007 is 0.007. Hold on. There's less than a half. Oh my goodness, it's less than a quarter, 0.007? What y'all doing to the man? Listen. Those are the gods who want to destroy the first make man. The lines are open, 62593 is the number to call. I saw Amalgamated issued a statement there. Amalgamated said, you know what? They were quick to point out who this man worked with and what his details were for the short period that he worked with us. They didn't tell you anything about him prior to working with us or post working with us. Let them reveal those details. Right? That is what Amalgamated said. Let them tell you prior to him working with us and after him working with us. Because the Guyana police force issued him with a clean bill of health. CID issued him with a police clearance that said nothing ill is known of his character. And we employed him. He worked with us for about 4 or 6 months, whatever the period in 2020. He resigned for his own personal reasons. We don't know anything about him after. Let the police tell us about that. Before and after. Right? And stop trying to impugn the character of our professional security service. Caller live, good morning. Caller, you live, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Kanaki. And I want to wish Alfred Morgan a special happy birthday. I am still annoyed not being able to go to see where he's living in Barbies. As if I didn't know I might run up there today.
Like you want to move around, though?
Now, yesterday, people went out and gave strength to Yuvraj and Sherrod. And one thing that really hurt me was when Sherrod got up in the yard. When we got to Tongalia, there was a man who refused to open the gate, but the way to the people, the gate eventually became open. And when we voice our concerns and our wrath at him being a black man, and he said he was working with orders. Anyway, moving along, but in the same time there, Sherrod got up to give thanks to people who are out there and to continue with the struggle. And in the speech there, Sherrod said, because of this charge, he will not be paid until May of next year, providing he don't do nothing else that they call bad. Now, why are you taking away the salary of a person? Now, Sherrod got a wife and he got children. What must his remainder of his family do in these trying times? Now, imagine what. All right, move along.
No. Don't move along yet. Don't move along yet.
Yeah.
It would be remiss of me to sit here and, I'm not sure that what Sherrod said, that will be paid until May next year, has anything to do with the mayoral incident. Remember, Sherrod and other MPs were suspended, right? And they were suspended without pay.
Yeah.
And so the possibility is he has just received a notification that here you get your last pay for when you were to be paid. And so your next pay is not likely to be until May next year. That's my interpretation. Right? But only Sherrod can explain that for Sherrod self. I don't want to.
Well, he gonna gotta explain, but how I understood it yesterday, that because of this last incident, like more time of no pay was allotted to him. Anyway, let me move along. Now with this incident, this supposed incident at State House, I believe that is a ploy now not to allow Africans to gain entry into the country, because they are going to say that the Africans gaining entry into the country posing a threat to the life of the installed regime. So they would deny them access to come into the country. But the known people who would wear a bomb belt within the twinkling of an eye, they will be given that opportunity to come and flood Guyana. That is what I see. That is a move now afoot. Because it stopped the Haitians, now they're going to find wrath against the Nigerians, because Nigerians are black people. Now, the last thing. Early this morning, I didn't make any comment about Coolie people. But anyway, the learned lawyer, Selwyn Peters, I'm not against him. I'm not bashing him. He told me not to use the word Coolie. So I told him, I am not the person using that word. That word was in the textbook. My primary 4 textbook started with the poem, an Indian who had no chains, walking along a sunlit beach gathering shells. He heard a strange commingled noise and looked up and saw closes on poles, ship without oars, and all of a sudden Columbus's doom bell carvel landed on the shores of the West Indies, wherever part this Indian was. Then you go down into the same reading book that spoke about a better slavery. And in those days, I went to St. Jude's Anglican School. The school was close to the burial ground. And you had a subject, the name reading, spelling, and dictation. And we, the teachers, Miss Lee Smith, Ina Nelson, the headmistress was Valerie Elliott, Miss Samaru, and other teachers, when the time come for reading, because the school was never ever a separated classroom. So you used to go there once the sun hot and read a big tree, and you're reading from your reading book, because you had to do spelling and the famous subject dictation. And in those same reading books you had to read. And there is where I read the words Bongo Kuli that came from Calcutta, India. It is not that I have made it up. It is in the history books. And in the books, those books were not written by a black man. Because in those times, was shared white people doing everything. And people, the Indians, good people, don't jump on the white people them for calling them Bongo Kuli or calling them Kuli. But in this country, years ago, Janet Jagan brought in the word Apanjat and caused this racial divide in Guyana. Then later, Barra Jagdio suddenly said, Levy got to court and make this a law. You say could you get jail? You say, but he said too much for black man. They call us all the time, hungry belly black man, black dog, black this, black dog. It isn't we may feel hurt, but we don't go to the lengths. We were never called black man in the textbooks. We were always being referred to as the Negroes or Africans. They were referred to in textbook. And once it's in black and white, and nothing has, I've never heard where any of them have taken the white people to court for calling them Bongo Coolies. But they jumped down on a black person and said that is a bad word. It is in the textbook. And once you read the text, that's it in there. Now you will talk, they got certain things about the Jews. The Jews made certain that they moved to the courts. They had laws legislated against certain things that you cannot really say of a Jew. It became a law. But there is no law debunking that word Bongo Coolies from India. So I don't say they like, these people like to honor Massa, the Lord the white people, but suddenly the name of the white people give to them, they don't want to accept. And when you follow in the footsteps of the white lords and masters, they're jumping down on you. We in the books, they used to call us niggers, and that was being removed as a stigmatized word. And the white people assisted us for that not to be. But the white people have not assisted Indians not to be called coolies. And when you call them so, people now jumping down on you. Let it go, remove it from the book. Let it bring up an edict that anybody, the white people, must bring the edict that anybody saying coolie, but them to put in the book must be charged with all they make it. Everybody like run behind white people. So don't let people jump to Bombay.
Thank you, Rhonda.
I'm going from the books. Yes.
Point made and taken. I usually take the advice of my lawyers. Call it live, good morning. Yeah. Call it live, good morning.
Good morning.
Caller, you are live. Good morning.
Hi, good morning. Good morning. Sorry, I didn't know I was live. Yes, I would just like to say, am I allowed to mention the woman name at the National Psychiatric Hospital?
Call is free talk, Friday. You talk.
Okay, so her name is Dr. Mina, and also I would like to bring to your attention that she was running the psychiatric department in Georgetown, and the staff had to picket her. That's why she ended up in Barbados. So that's all I have to say basically. So this is nothing new what she's doing in Barbados.
Thank you, caller.
Thank you very much. Have a good day.
You too.
All right, bye.
Do you know that a lot of people take on the characteristics of their professions? After working a particular profession over a period of time, do you know a lot of people almost live it, I would say? I have a teacher friend who I have a teacher friend who tells me, must listen to teachers. For the most part, they're always loud. They don't talk like deaf people because they always got to be shouting at students. So, is it that this doctor is behaving, is reenacting what she has to deal with in the psychiatric wards and so on? Call the line, good morning.
Good morning. I just want to, good morning to your listening audience. I just want to make a correction to Rondo and side with you a bit with that Kadaki incident about him getting paid. What you were saying, Kadaki, is correct, that what she was interpreting was a bit wrong. What he was saying yesterday was, apparently when he was suspended the first time, he was still receiving pay. And then when they subsequently went back and checked his suspension from the previous time that he was getting paid, now with his suspension, now he's off suspension from this last incident, they are starting to deduct his pay from him being paid. From when they paid him, I guess they're trying to say they paid him in error.
He was overpaid, in short. He was overpaid.
That's the correction I want. Apparently, right. So they're now deducting it back from him, from I guess the mistake, if you want to call it that, from the previous thing. That's all. Thank you.
I want to make some kicks, say, how do I like the kicks? It's Free Talk Friday. Y'all know when Sharon getting paid? Listen, Sharon is a boy, you know, right? But you must see a lighter side of everything that you're talking about. We didn't know when Sharon collecting the pay, but now that he ain't getting paid, we know. Morning, honorable member. Sharon Duncan, how you know, bye? Sometimes you just have to laugh at these things. That's all I can say. But it's natural. I know it has happened to a number of people prior in the public service, and even in the private sector. When the pay clerk or the accountant and so on make errors, and you get overpaid, they usually do deductions to reclaim their money, right? And whether or not they're going to take it out all at one time is you know, has to always be decided, and sometimes it is sickening because the member is not responsible for the overpayment and so should not be penalized for the overpayment. And so they should really work out a repayment plan, right? Whereas the overpaid amount is deducted over a long period of time so that a person doesn't have to suffer, right? Greatly as a result of that repayment that has to happen. But just as how they are quick to deduct from Sharon Duncan overpayment, I want them to go to the regions, especially those regions where PPP, friends and cronies have been overpaid hundreds of millions of dollars, and get them contractors to pay it back. Let them do that too. Call their live, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Kadaki.
Yes, caller.
Yes, I'm sorry. Good morning to your viewers. I would like to make a comment on the incident with I'm not sure who it was because I didn't see, I guess the nationality or whoever that invaded the presidential office. No, Guyanese must not be distracted. This incident is not a random incident. Be smart, be focused. They could not contract a Guyanese, whether it is African Guyanese, East Indian, Amerindian, whoever. They had to contract somebody who's not a citizen of Guyana to carry out this act, to distract the Guyanese people from the heat that they're going to be getting very soon. The distraction is to take off the focus of the abuse of the racism that is being portrayed on African Guyanese. Don't be distracted. They know that they contract that guy to do that job that day. They want to equal what was planned for Mr. Granger. Don't be distracted. Interpol won't be able to help them there because they went and gave that individual to do that job. That's not an accident. That's not random. Nobody. You can't even go to the presidential gate showing any sign that you're not there to talk to them before you get in. They look so stupid. So stupid with that incident. It's a disgrace. Guyanese got to stay focused. Racism, the so-called president is charging, or the administration is charging people for saying certain words. I want them to look carefully at you, your program, at Sherrod's program, and Mark's program, and see who really is causing problems and who calling names, who calling other people names. Let them look carefully, and none of those supporters are being brought to justice. None. They're charging the mayor for using electronic device to cause racial strife. Since when? Since when you can ask a criminal, okay, and install? He was never elected by the people. The mayor asks a question. Why is he not talking to a Hindu? Is it because he's a Muslim? That's a question the man asks. English language. It's not hard. Answer the man question. Is it a Hindu and Muslim situation? Is it African and Indian situation? Answer the man. Instead of arrest him, answer him. It's simple English. Sarah Lynch, the ambassador for Canada, the ambassador for England, all of them are responsible for the mess that is going on in Guyana. They are allowing murder and mayhem in the dear land of Guyana. They are responsible for that. And Guyanese must never forget, and we have to find an avenue, because these ambassadors, they are working out. They are not working in line of what they are supposed to do. They are operating as they are private citizens. So I'm thinking that we must find a way to either carry them or let them face the courts, because they're not representing the fact that they are ambassadors. They are responsible for what is going on in Guyana. Mr. Kadaki, have a great day.
Thank you, caller.
Kibaki, good morning. Dr. Mina used to work in Burby. She used to run that same psychiatric hospital way back, years ago. Years, I'm telling you. She used to think. Dr. Mina is a mad woman because she's there years and years and years. When I'm telling you years.
Call on the line. Let's hear about Dr. Mina.
Over maybe 20-something years. I'm telling you, not even 20-something, over maybe about 40 years. Dr. Mina used to run the hospital long time. She's a mad woman. They sent her to I think she was off the radar. I didn't know it's Joshua. She went and then come back to Burbies because I left the country. You understand? So I didn't keep abreast with her. But she is a mad woman long now. No.
Thank you for that clarification on Dr. Mina. That's her name. Mina K. Call live, good morning.
Yes, good morning. I'm just calling to congratulate the Guyana Police Service for their quick response on the incident. But what actually puzzles me is the recent incident with the shooting of this guy Fernandez, and there was no police in sight, even no police around touchdown until the car was found burned all the way in Linden. So my question to the Guyana Police Force is, how come they were not swift to response in that incident, and how come it was in a matter of seconds they were on the site?
Cora, I think it's an unfair question, you know. Because the fact that this thing happened right there in the presence of the police who are there, the security detail of the fat guy, they were the ones who actually took down the intruder, the lone wolf, the knife-wielding man, whatever they want to call him. It was the security detail that did the job. There was no need to investigate to find this man. He was right there. Right now? Right? So that's it. The swiftness would be in the details. Let's see what details they're going to concoct or unearth. Call A Live, good morning. Please be swift. We're approaching that 9 o'clock hour, so we have to wrap up shortly.
Kams family. Am I on?
Go ahead.
Hello? Yes. Good morning to one and all. Sorry, you mentioned to one of your previous callers that Guyana's business is America's business. That is a fact because of many reasons, and people need to understand in Guyana. People need to understand that fact, right? And they need to understand that Guyana is more important geographically and economically to the United States, even more important than Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands, which are the territories, right? So my point is that if in this case here now, the population of Guyana, the people who are the oppressed people of Guyana, needs to understand the importance of Guyana to the United States. So that's the reason why they need to rise up and make a lot of noise and do what they got to be very active, right? An example is like I had an operation in the bush. I seldom went into the bush, but whenever something happens that needed my attention, I would fly in there or boat in there or whatever, right? So my point is, the thing is that if we decide to protest, if we decide to block up things, if we decide to come out and do whatever we got to do, we will have the ears of the United States government. Sarah Lynch do not work by herself. She doesn't work for herself. She works for the United States government. So whatever she's saying, she's saying it with the weight of the United States government behind her, right? So we need to stop thinking these things for granted and thinking that, you know what, the United States have our back, and we're not doing anything. We need to stand up. Yes, they have our back. But if we decide to be docile, sit down and do nothing, that's all they're going to do. That's all they're going to sit there and watch and talk. They're going to have her there talking whatever she wants to say. Take whatever side she wants to take because, like I said, it's all about economics. It's all about geographical location. The border in Venezuela is a troubled territory as far as they're concerned, right? So all those things. So they have her there, and our location is important to them. Our resources are important to them. So so they won't take the eyes off of it. They will have a say in everything that happens in the country, but they will have a say in thinking about their pockets, right? They don't want confusion in the country. They want us to remain quiet and humble as the way we are. They want the PPP government to continue oppressing us and riding us. Right? Because that's their comfort zone. That's how they make the money. But if we decide to get up there and start breaking up things and start to get blood running, like I said, I like to say have blood running in the street because that must happen. Right? It mustn't be our blood alone, it must be others' blood as well. Right? And if those things happen, we become really active and really loud, then they will decide to jump out and then they defend their money, secure the investment, because that's their investment. Our country, as far as I'm concerned, is their investment. Look, for instance, like in Venezuela, before the war broke out in Ukraine. They had problems in Venezuela. They had mad things against Venezuela, right? And all of a sudden, when the war broke out, they decide, you know what, we gotta be friends back in Venezuela. Now they're pumping all out of Venezuela again and going to different places. So we need to get rude. That's what the people need to understand that. They need to come out there, they need to protest. They need to protest EXXON office, they need to protest the Ministry of Commerce, they need to protest the Ministry of Finance, the President's office and all this. We need to have mass protests in the country. And then you will see. I get it every time. The emails from the United States Embassy saying that there's a planned protest or there's confusion or whatever is going on. Then those emails will start spreading the place, and then we will get it here. Then they will start acting. Then they will decide, you know what? These people are being oppressed, and we need to do something about it. But unless we decide to get out there and take matters into our own hands, nothing is going to happen. Nobody's going to come and help us do nothing. So we need to get out there. That's what I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, caller.
Hi, good morning, Kedaki. With respect to the sister that called talking about the incident at State House, she's on the right track. When you're dealing with the PPP, you have to be able to think outside of the box. You can't think traditionally and accept everything these people tell you. No one would want to just walk in to the compound there and knowing that you got to pass so much security with guns and you go in there unprepared with a knife. If I'm going in there well strapped. So the man seems to have been a person who was accustomed, know the ins and outs of that place. And I think what the government is doing is preparing the groundwork to declare a state of emergency because they realize a lot of heat is coming down on them. Also, with respect to the mayor, if you recall, sometime earlier this year, he had put out a list of all the businesses in Georgetown that are not paying taxes to the city hall. And I think that this is what the government is using to get back at him, because most of the private sector are not paying taxes to the city hall.
It is now 9 o'clock. Yeah, record breaking 9 o'clock on the dot on BUXTONIAN Morning Time. Must burn down! We jamming still!
Fresh on the scene, having a party to the full extreme.
city could burn down. I jamming still. Hey. Anyhow, it's Free Talk Friday. We don't talk for the morning. I'm not going out there. I have to get Club Twilight ready for the afternoon. Hey, we got big stereo set this afternoon. Come down to Club Twilight. Cheap beers and big songs. It's Albert Morgan birthday. Yes, it's Albert Morgan birthday. Come in and take a drink with me today. So y'all could come and join, take a drink with Albert Morgan at Albert Morgan birthday. If I gotta buy you one drink though. Hola, y'all have a good day. See y'all tomorrow as well. Saturday. Maybe. Looks like we're gonna get some Saturday rhythms. But remember, my teacher taught me that I don't just read on the line, I read in between the lines.